So what is the lifestyle that you should have when you want to achieve any sort of success? I had issues focusing on my work for 4 years straight, even though I was doing some online business work and I was making money online. My number one constraint always was just focus. When I was in school, I had very poor grades. I used to play video games. I did pretty much all of the bad habits and the bad things that you simply don't want to do. So I'm going to tell you exactly how to avoid them. Because I think if somebody giving you advice never struggled with those things in the first place, then probably the advice is not going to be as suitable to you. So the first point on how do you get more results in your goals is your diet. What you eat extremely impacts how you work. Now, if you want to make gym progress, that's very different. I think diet for bodybuilding and diet for working should be two different separate points. So really just think of what is your main priority, your main goal right now. And if it's focus and you actually want to improve your focus, then keep watching this video. The number one diet, you probably heard this online many times, but I'm going to say it anyway because I think it's very important, is ketogenic diet, which means that you eat simply no carbs and you simply focus on fat and protein. Fat and protein essentially means that you will eat only eggs, you will eat meat, vegetables, you will eat perhaps avocado, you will eat nuts, and those very low processed ingredient foods. Every now and then you can maybe eat fruit, but that's about it. Now the reason why is carbs extremely impact our ability to actually think. In bodybuilding, they get transformed into glycogen, which actually gives you energy, and that's a good thing. But in terms of working, they can heavily impact on how you feel. They can heavily impact your decision making, and they can heavily impact your energy levels, specifically your brain energy levels, right? You might be able to do some activity which requires physical strength, but very hardly your mental being. Cool, so that's about that. You just have to avoid bread. You just have to avoid sugary cereal. And I want my videos to be as much to the point as possible. So I don't really want to get into depth. I'm going to make different videos where I get into depth with each subject. But this video, I just want to show you the bullet points. Point number 2, you want to be obsessed as much as possible. You want 99% of your thoughts. You want all of your thoughts to be focused on your one goal. You don't want many goals. You simply want one goal in your life. You can have more goals when you achieve the first one that is most important to you. But until then, until you haven't achieved the one goal that means the most to you, you simply focus on the one. Then you can go and actually focus on something different. So if work is number one priority for you right now, focus on work, then you can focus on fitness. Now, I'm not saying to not exercise, but just to not make it number one priority if it's not your number one priority, which I think should be just straightforward, but people think they can do 1,000 things at once. And then suddenly 1 year later, they do not achieve any progress in any niche whatsoever. The quality of your thoughts and what do you think exactly determines the quality of your life. I had terrible thoughts. I had literally brain rot thoughts, thinking about bullshit that doesn't even matter. Just 2 years ago, where all I really wanted to do was just work and just to have some success. But instead of that, I was doing all of those bullshit things that didn't really contribute whatsoever to my goals. And so I was stuck at a place for such a long time simply because my thoughts were not really high quality. If all you think about is what you are going to eat, what video game you are going to play, when you are going to hang out with your friends, what does that girl that you see often in a store thinks about you? If those are your thoughts, then I'm sorry to break it to you, but if you will not change this will dictate your life. So if you want infinite motivation, you want to watch as many videos as possible about your goal and why you should achieve it and give yourself always reasons. Just occupy your mind with your goal to the point where all you think about is just your goal. You don't even know anything outside of your goal. Now, the point number 3 is very specific. Simply, if you experience some trauma, if you experience some bad situations in your life, and if your situation, if your life right now is completely shit, try to use this energy and try to really realize that this might be your life. This might be occurring for the rest of your life, unless you achieve your goal. You want to simply reverse engineer your way of thinking. Because usually when you want to achieve something, you don't want to really achieve it. You want to escape the state that you are currently in. So if you have shit physique, you probably don't care about the shit physique. You care about what the shit physique actually does to your life. You cannot attract the opposite sex. Nobody wants to speak to you. Nobody respects you. And so if we have some goal in mind, we usually don't want the goal. We usually just don't want the opposite. So you don't want to be rich. You just don't want to be poor. You don't want to have good physique. You just want attention. And so if you experience currently some bad situation in your life where you work, for example, shitty job, you have been the same person for many years, or you just look back and you realize that you have been doing the same habits for literally like 10 years, then use that energy instead to motivate you. Now, obviously, like think about a final destination, but don't get over motivated because of it, right? Don't think that this is going to happen, which also, by the way, brings me to point number 4, which is daydreaming. Don't think for some weird reason that whatever is your goal, one day is going to happen. It's probably 99% of the time not going to happen. When you have some goal, when you want to make a fuck ton of money, but you aren't doing anything, don't think that you have time, because actually 99% of the time is not going to happen. You are not going to achieve your dream. And I'm saying this just to encourage you that, okay, shit, I have to do something right now because I have 0 time. And if I don't do it right now, I will probably never achieve it, right? Because everybody thinks one day will come, but one day is never coming, right? It's just, we use that to comfort ourselves, but the statement is completely false. Like, one day is not coming. One day you will not change. If you won't change within the few weeks, if you won't change idly right now, one day will not come. So aim for little changes every single day, but get this bullshit out of your head that, okay, I'm going to achieve this and not doing anything, right? You don't put any work, yet you expect the outcome to come your way. And point number 5 is your routine. Now, routine is very interesting because everybody says that you have to be very precise with your routine. But what I like to do instead is just have set time when I go to sleep. So always go to sleep and wake up at the set time. Ideally, you want to wake up as soon in the morning as possible. So you want to go to sleep at like 8 p.m., wake up at 5 a.m. In the morning, what I usually found about people is you actually have the biggest work input. Like, you can work so much more than in the day for some reason. So go to sleep at the same time, wake up at the same time. But after that, just have a list of things that you want to do in order, right? Because what usually people do is they type in that 9:30 to 10:30, I'm going to work. But usually you cannot just calculate how long the work is going to take, right? You can have guess, but always the routine just kind of slightly changes. So what I would advise you instead to do is have set time exactly when you're going to wake up and go to sleep. But right after you wake up, just have a list of things that you are going to do and in order. So I'm going to go to gym. In the gym, I'm not going to focus on my workout. I'm just going to focus on my work, just to get my mind static, just to get my mind still, and just to get me ready for the workday. Right after that, let me just work. So I come back home, I go and do the most important task of the day. I go and do the work. Let me think about my work, right? Let me think, let me meditate, let me do something else. And this is how it should go, right? You should have a list of things that you want to do in order, and you should have set time when you are going to sleep and wake up, because sleep is so fucking important and nobody really realizes it. Everybody tells you to sleep 5 hours, 4 hours, 3 hours, which can work if you're super, super obsessed with your work. But usually for the people in beginning stages, when they wake up with 4 hours of sleep, they just feel so sleepy, so unproductive, that usually they aren't going to get much done. Then you suddenly get quickly burned out because this was too hard, this was too uncomfortable, and you don't want to do it again. So instead of that, we do it this way. Because the alternative is you get burned out and you fall into rut and you are going to do all of the bad habits again. And then 2 months later, you are going to realize, oh shit, I haven't changed anything. Now, I'm going to give you 2 actionable steps that I want you to do right now. Grab a piece of paper and grab a pen. Or if you feel kind of lazy, just go on phone and just open notes and write down the most important goal that you have in your mind. Write down the only goal if everything else had to go away and you would have to achieve only one thing, one goal. Which one would it be? And right after you've wrote it down and you know exactly what your dream, what your goal is, beneath that, write down one actionable step that you can do right now in order to get closer to this goal. And right after that, I want you to go and watch multiple videos on how you achieve this goal. Because many people tell you just to do the work, just to work. But when you are not obsessed, when you don't have yet this idea of the goal planted in your mind, it's actually kind of hard. So I'm telling you exactly what helped me, and hopefully it's gonna help you. Anyways, I hope this video helped you. Hope you actually wrote down your most important goal, and hope you actually went and did the actionable step that you did for yourself. I hope this video helped you. Subscribe if you want more videos like this, and see you in the next one.